Operation.
Sit down. I'm gonna get some more.
Yeah. And no, sit down and lift
I know how to
Joe.
get Candace a drink. I'm not gonna miss the drink.
This guy had brains right. He had to have it. Surgery done and he was cornbread.
Oh, no, he's gonna have his cornbread every night.
Cornbread.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Here, Muffin, you can sit down there, honey.
No.
You don't want to sit down?
Here you go, baby.
There you go.
She sure loves my cat out there.
Oh, I know she loves
We
kitty
fed that donkey and we fed
Yeah,
that
but Mom, this is when you can actually
dog
pet
and
and cuddle.
cat.
And if you lay down, he'll lay down with you.
Really?
You've never seen such a dog.
Did she tell you about
Boots
Boots?
doesn't do
Oh,
that.
no, Boots bites.
Oh!
Bootsy's is a biter. She just, you know, she just needs to get over those terrible twos.
Oh, her and Squeaker just had a
Candace
ball.
went so bad. I said, you know, how we end up with this kind of a
Stroke him
cat?
on the back and he.
All these
His
little
tail
cats,
ran it up
Randy
there.
brought her
Oh,
home.
he
Randy's
liked
allergic,
that.
and I had to go through that with him. I said, how could you bring home a cat with being allergic?
Yeah, really.
When we first met, I had 2 cats.
Oh, better have.
Uncle Joe, you're so kind.
Yeah,
You're so un-McNutt here.
I respect
she's
all
still in
women. I really don't hardly ever talk dirty.
Oh, my baby.
Yeah.
When Barney and I get together in
Your
the
baby.
backyard, well, we-
How'd she become your baby?
We talk about old Yakko milk.
Yeah.
You tell me how she's your baby now?
And Randy here, I don't want
don't spoil
We
Randy.
did.
What? Say what?
Definitely.
I didn't hear that.
Candace,
Alright,
and
sit.
Kathy's telling me some stories here.
Yeah,
I'll tell the story about when you were living here. Was that what it was, or is you gonna talk about the?
Okay, when I was living here. Okay,
got
I have a
your
good one.
chair.
I have a good one
You wanna
from when I
sit
was
out
living
there?
here. Here, Granny, you sit
No,
here.
no, no.
Oh,
No, because
sit down there,
I
Fern.
anyway. Why? Because I do.
When I was living here with Granny and Grandpa,
When was that?
our grandma was
let's
in a
see.
convalescent home.
No, she didn't. She
Grandma
went
was in a
to
convalescent home.
She
Not
went to
this
live with me.
grandma.
Oh, I don't know. One of the
Great Granny was in a convalescent home.
He knows.
When Lynn was
Well, I don't
living here,
remember
she
what year
drove
it was,
Granny
but I
insane.
was-
She deserved to go to convalescent.
I was probably
Yeah, They're right, Granny.
14 or 15, so I was a sophomore in high school.
Uh-huh.
And
You had a brother, Craig.
and I had a brother Craig, and when we first came into the family, I was 11 and Craig was 13.
Hadn't been kissed yet.
No, I'd been kissed a couple times, but I didn't tell anybody. And so, let's see, one time, this is in particular, I was told by Grandpa every single day that I had to come home and empty out the dishwasher. And I just didn't come home that particular day, I just kind of hung out with the friends.
That was wrong.
It was really
That
long.
was right.
And then, you know, I wasn't that late, but I was just kind of late. And then all of a sudden, Craig shows up over at the park over here, and he says, "You better come with me." And he was just like looking at me like I'm in trouble. And I says, "Where are we going?" He says, "To see Grandpa."
You knew you were
Oh,
in trouble.
and I just, you know, 85 Hail Marys, and I wasn't Catholic. And I just was like, oh my God, here it goes. And I just, it just, my heart was going pitter patter the whole way there. And I was just thinking, well, how mad is he? I kept saying to Craig, how mad is he? How mad is he? And I'll just say, Granny, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And he says, I don't think you can talk your way out of this. He says, you know, you're his little sweetie, but you're not gonna be able to talk your way out of this. So we get out there to PM Sellers, and he looks at me with that look, and I says, Grandpa, and he goes,
Don't say nothing.
come back here. Oh, and I just knew I was getting really bad. I could just, my thumb was hurting. And I went back there and he says, that's once. And he says, and you don't get twice. Because he used to always go twice and 3 times.
Well, there's a story about that. That's once, what was
He was
that?
playing it
That's
too.
once,
Yeah.
and then,
Twice.
then he killed the old horse, what was that?
It was, he'd already mad.
And he says, you
By the time
better-
he found out
Oh.
where she's at, he had cooled off.
Oh yeah, he had cooled off by the time Craig got me over there. Just a little, but he said, I'm never giving you twice. So you remember that. I says, okay. He says, now you get home and you go empty that dishwasher and you empty that dishwasher for the rest of your life. I says, yes sir, I will. And I went home and that's what I was doing every day after school for the rest of my life. That's our story. We laugh about that all the time. Huh?
Grandma,
Grandma didn't say a word. She just looked at me. She knew I was about to get it.
I knew her grandpa was.
Oh.
Why were you about to get it?
Didn't pay to say.
Because I didn't come home. He told me to come home
Nobody
and
had
help
jumped
Granny.
onto me.
You missed the beginning of the story. I didn't come home to help Granny empty the dishwasher and do some chores. I hung out with some friends. And he sent Craig after me. Granny called and says,
She
"Hey,
thought we
see-"
wouldn't notice.
She didn't give you much credit, did she?
No. But then I just sat here next to him and I just kind of rubbed his leg that night. And, love you, Grandpa. Love you, love you, love you, love you, love you.
Just don't kill me.
Yeah, just don't kill me.
Well, I remember when I came into the family, and the first thing he asked me when I came walking in the door, he says, "You Republican or Democrat?"
Oh,
I asked him
my
3 times before I could understand what the hell he said. What? Are you really asking me?
Did he really? That was one of the first things he asked you?
Yeah.
Oh, you should have heard him and my dad just they'd get into it. Were you ever over here when they'd get into it? They'd get into a fight, huh, Granny? We would go in the back.
Not fights.
Well, no,
Arguments.
but arguments like you wouldn't believe.
Very
The
strong
three of
words.
us,
Was Fred a Republican?
he was a Republican.
Oh.
And Granny and Mom and I would go, and we'd have to go hide. The voice would start getting louder and louder, and my dad would get off the seat of his chair, and Grandpa would sit off the seat of his chair, and we says, "Gotta go." And 3 women would just leave the room, and we just let them do it, and it was just always over that same thing.
Kind of like you and Dick.
Why are you about these guys?
I don't know, but it was
Democrats.
so
They
funny.
went through the depression.
Yeah, okay.
And you know he was always afraid of getting kissed by a
I
guy.
don't think.
You know, that was a big thing.
Uncle Dick was?
Yeah, he
Oh,
just,
yeah.
if you got near him, and Randy
I
would
used
kind of
to do
tease
that.
him. Randy, you tell him how you would always tease him about kissing him.
I wouldn't tease him. I'd walk up and shake his hand and kind of hold him close and give him a
Did
kiss
you
on the
get
cheek. Yeah, he'd push me away and give me the fist.
Then from then on, keep your mouth shut. You had it made.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
In fact, remember that, Granny? Even at the hospital.
This is it. This
Yeah,
is the
that's
best
what I
Laying
say
on the
not
bed.
very long ago.
No.
It was the last time I saw him alive, and I gave him a kiss on the forehead.
And,
He looks up at me like this,
And gives you
can
that
see the
fist.
fist go like this.
and Randy said,
Just
"Don't hit me,
took off.
Grandpa, don't hit me." It was so
That's
cute,
right,
and all of
Randy.
us just started laughing, and he smiled. He put his teeth together.
No, what did he tell you? Did I know my
What did he
poison?
tell me? Well,
I'm-
what I wanted to say over at the funeral was he always would say, "Hey, Shug, you keeping your Peter clean." Every time I'd call or every time I'd come over here or whatever, you keeping your Peter clean. And I thought, well, I can't get up there in front of 50 people and say that. So I said, well, I'm just not going to say anything.
You
because
thought about it though.
I thought about it. And and how, we'd always walk by and we'd get goosed by him. Granny and I just kind of got a permanent butt sticking out in my body. That was just it. We just knew it was going to happen, so why not just, and he did.
Just walk by and let him goose you.
Right, and
You know.
and he says, "You guys aren't any fun." That kind of made him a little upset. It wasn't fun
Wasn't no
because we just
funny.
went along with it.
Wasn't no fun if you- It wasn't no fun.
But I had gone to LA right after we put Grandpa back in the hospital, and I called him, and Uncle Chuck answered the phone. And Granny and Mom had gone to lunch or something, and he says, "I don't know nothing, Lynn." This is Uncle Chuck, and I don't know nothing because the women aren't here. And I says, "Okay, well, what's Grandpa doing?" He says, "Oh, he's sitting right here. You want to talk to him?" I said, "Yeah." I'm thinking he's sitting right up and everything. I'm thinking, what's going on? He gets on the phone. "Hi, Shug. How you doing?" I said, "Fine." He says, "Keeping your Peter clean?" And I said, "Sure am. Are you?" He goes, "Sure am." And then we talked for
You
a
didn't
few
expect
minutes.
to hear that, did you?
No. And then I thought, he was doing much better. And then and that was the last thing he said to me too. He says, "You keep that Peter clean." I says, "You too, Grandpa. Love you too." And then we hung up.
Granny, what was that song he used to sing about froggies?
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
that's a
coming
great one.
over.
Froggy went a courting and he did ride.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That
I
was
remember
it.
sitting
That was
here one
it?
night
Yeah,
after
that's
dinner.
it. And then he'd sing that forever.
Go
Froggy
over and
went to
over and
court.
over.
No, that's a real song like
I
that.
thought it was a big old song.
No,
That's
that
what it
was
is.
longer.
Very long.
That's only some part he knew though.
Froggy went to
Ollie's-
courting, and he did bride.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there was more to it.
That's all we could remember because
I
we couldn't
know.
understand them.
Don't you remember, Ann, you and Steve were watching a movie one night, and Steve used to wonder why your dad was always going around singing, "It had to be you,"
Yeah.
and you realized that was their theme song in the park branch of service he was in. when he was
Oh,
there.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
But what branch of service? What Uncle Ed? He in his army,
Army.
artillery, wasn't he? Yes,
You know,
sir.
I still get a thing from them every year, about the reunions. We went to a couple up later. He got hooked in with all those Yankees up north, poor little fella. And this year there has been 4 died. I've noticed in the thing since the last reunion last year. So they're all getting them up there in years now.
I don't
kicking
care.
out.
You know, Ricky said that Uncle Joel never talked about the war either.
Nobody here.
Yeah, and neither did Daddy. Never would tell any stories.
Oh, I
Never
think
did.
about the maddest though I've ever seen ever.
No, I don't.
And just about as mad.
Uncle Joel and my
When he
dad.
wasn't mad at me, I'm talking about other people. People would talk and say something, and he would get so fighting mad because I say, oh yeah, you sorry people were
They were
glad
running
they
or
were
walking,
getting
and
good
he
money, and I was
reached
over
over
there
to
on the
talk to
front
his best
line
friend
fighting
and
for
brother.
you, getting $50 a month and sending part of it back home to my mom and dad.
Yeah.
Oh, it would just be
They came
so
down and smelled good, she'll be all over front thinking she smoked.
Yeah, it is.
No, oh,
They
that,
never in
no,
combat.
she
No,
won't be up here.
you know that girl, she can smell a week old smoke.
I know it, but she won't be up here because she
can't.
has to stay with Fred.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Who you
Don't
talking
ever tell.
Kate?
Don't tell them, Fern, I
Our
have
Kate, little
give
Kate?
her a cigarette.
You said Fred, but
Don't
we
nobody
stayed
tell
with
them.
they.
David,
Too damn late now. We done got
She don't
It's
smoke.
all right.
She don't smoke.
this is so
Smoke
funny
with
how
me
everybody's
once in
been
a while.
calling David
Does she?
Fred
Well,
all
don't feel
weekend long.
bad.
Oh,
I
really?
was calling
Is
Kathy
it
Chris
really?
at
I bet that's
10:30.
not
He
me.
hasn't heard
And I
that
said, well,
because he
I
hasn't
said, I'll
been
get my
here.
story straight in a minute.
But somebody said something
Yeah,
about
I
Fred
say
this
Fred
morning, and I
every
said
Oh,
that's
yeah,
okay.
I still do.
So many of us remember
We just let
Fred.
you
Well,
know.
yeah.
I still
Well,
do.
He was the best guy.
We can do without them,
I-
but once in a while, we want to drag now and then.
Sure,
Now
of
you
course.
start both of them.
We sat in the, we stood
No,
in
Yeah,
the
but
kitchen
see,
last night,
when
and
he
was crying
smells
about our
You're
dads.
nervous.
Oh,
Me
really?
and Kathy and this other kid. we were
Well, it might
all
be 2
last
months
night
before
talking
he
about our
come in,
fathers.
so it wasn't very often.
It's a good thing you guys
And
weren't
when-
there.
Oh, it's not going through 6 months,
But-
When was the last time you had a
Oh, it's not
cigarette?
coming about every 6 months.
Well, she had that gum
Well,
yesterday, and I told her when.
2 or 3.
Yeah, well, it's
Remember that gum that we got her in the
4, 5, 6
hospital,
months. I don't
Randy?
know how long.
Yeah.
Well, it
She had that
wasn't
yesterday.
very often.
Not
We
too damn
was
hot,
checking the
that's right.
roof the other night.
Cause I don't,
We was checking the roof and looking for the cat the other night.
Yeah.
we don't wanna, we don't mess
Maxie?
with old folks that's got problems.
You get all your boys psyched up about coming back to Tennessee. What kind of bobcats did you find?
What do you mean,
But they all come back saying that they
didn't
you fought
ask
bobcats left and right. I ain't seen. I've seen some
Yeah, I don't
bobcats
know
back
where
there, but I never seen enough I could find.
Uncle Dick saw bobcats back there.
Tell me something that just goes.
It is.
That's what he always said.
Oh, I know them boys that come back and when they was little, they was wanting to fight bobcats. Want to go find bobcats. Hell, I lived back there. I never saw them.
Thing is, Rory, I told
He
you
wasn't
two
out
stories,
riding
but
the
it was
horse.
too big for them to understand.
Uh-huh.
But I've been involved in a lot of things that you know, it's beyond imagination. And you tell them the way it is, hell, people won't believe you. Things that actually happen. I fell out of a tree one time. I climbed a tree one time. I shot a bobcat.
That's
One
what
of
I
the big
heard.
ones brought out of Wayne County down there.
Mhm.
And I climbed this big old tree. So I shot him, and he kept going and went up there. But the thing is, I can look back now. When I shot him, he kept going and went up there, and then he died up at this fork of this tree. He hung over. Well, we was younger than me. He had eyes that big around. And, well, I was 2 or 3 of us 12, 14-year-old kids. I had to be the hero. I had to climb this damn tree to see if I could flush him on out. And everybody, 2 or 3 other guys with soft shotguns out there was gonna get him. But I climbed this tree, and I got pretty close to him. I had a stick with me, climbing this damn tree. Now,
Yeah, this is a story I've heard, but I
was
never
probably
heard
fif-
it.
I was probably a good 40 to 50 feet up. And I poked the son of a gun. I thought that he jumped, but he was dead in a mackerel. He was just barely hanging, and I hit him just right, and he fell out. One of the dogs caught him, and they shot him 14 times. And I fell out of a tree. Fell out of the damn tree. So I just reenacted and told these kids that story, but that actually happened. Out of this brush, clean up to here, when we found him, dogs jumping. We had a couple of hound dogs, and they jumped him. Biggest bobcat was ever brought out of Wayne County. So was as long as I was.
That turkey.
Well,
You and the gobble boys, that's it, that turkey.
in a roundabout
Wait,
way.
gobble, gobble, gobble.
Yeah, I had that go.
I'm gonna get out.
Oh, come on.
Roundabout way, that was true.
Was that true?
Tell
Holy
it,
God,
tell
holy God,
They
man.
stole turkey.
Man climbed up
They
back.
stole,
Was that
fried
true?
chicken.
Yeah,
We had
that's true,
chicken
that's true.
bristles 10 miles out in the woods. We
Well,
walked
they
all
always
night
said it
because
was,
we
but
played
I
those
didn't
chickens.
know.
Well, go ahead and tell it.
There wasn't anything else to do, you know, them days.
They stole turkey.
This old man,
Maybe nothing
Elmer
else better.
McNutt was a mean guy. He just threw the kid you. Well, we thought he just threw the kid you or not. He was one of them serious type guys. Well, we knew he'll kill you. So we got his chicken pen, and of course, some of them squalled and whatever. But anyway, we got a couple of fried chickens off the roof, and then we tied them, took them away from there, and tied them up. And the next day we walked. I guess we must have walked 3 or 4 miles. We made damn sure that nobody would know where we was at, because my dad would kill me anyway. But we walked miles back in the woods, and we built up a big fire, and we bought Mama's old big black skillet. We fried them damn chickens, and we had all the chickens we could eat. That's how the story got gobble gobble. Yeah,
Who did this?
those things did actually happen.
Who did this with you, Uncle Joe?
Me and Edward and Bobby. I don't think Chuck. I think Chuck came here.
He was too good to do it.
I cannot believe it. You stole
No, he
somebody's
wasn't
chickens
good,
and
but-
fried them?
I remember from Edward going down mostly.
I thought that was also a story. One of them
Well,
boys with you
what's that
named
really
Gobble.
true about old
Yeah,
Gobble?
old
We had some relation named Gobble, but they got that. Somebody made the story of Gobble Gobble Gobble.
Got like that.
And the guy said he knows me. You can, he knows
Yeah,
me.
they made that up after we
Well,
done all
next
it.
door, that was right. That was a
And we
great
stole
story.
watermelons out of this guy's patch. Oh, they probably weighed 15, 20 pounds, big old watermelons. We'd go in there at night and steal these watermelons, and then we'd walk through the woods and cross halls and take them down to the creek and leave them there all day, and then the next evening or next night we'd go down there and eat them. And just get them cold, they're 48 degrees. You know, watermelon, you'd be surprised how many miles. And in fact, we were crawling most of the time there because we figured he'd get shot. We thought he would actually shoot you. But he had shot, but he wasn't shooting at us now. But then we thought, yeah, he just missed me. We just run like a bus. Just stuff like that. And we used to get in the watermelon patch, and we always plugged them before they was ready to go. This old man said, "Now boys, when you want watermelon,
Which
I'll
one out
give
the
you all
hall?
you want."
That was all.
But she'd ask me, now, you get in there and you try them.
That
Fine.
kid had nothing but.
No, we would never do
I mean, it
that.
was all
You know, we were too good for that. We had him convinced that we didn't. But as soon as it got dark, when nobody could see, we sneaked in behind that barn, and that's before the watermelon was ripe, but we were trying to find a big one, the bigger one. And we take an old butcher knife or something, we plug that thing. We cut about a 2-inch square in it. Of course, I'd ruin it right then. But he had probably approximately an acre of watermelon, and I don't think there was one in that patch that we didn't plug.
Oh, my
goodness. All green.
Oh, Uncle, that is so mean.
They tell me the way
Stick
they
his
caught
knife in
you.
there and pull his plug out, well, it didn't show no red, it was green. We was doing all these watermelons. Boy, they shot, but it was. And we cried about
I don't think
everything.
I ever did.
The way I understood it,
Barney's probably knows.
oh, the way I understood it, he poured some coconut oil or something down in the hole.
Oh, no.
You know, he
That would be bad.
He what?
eat that watermelon, now all that coconut oil in it.
Oh.
And you know what that does to you.
Oh.
That's how they call it.
Oh.
No, I'm fine right now. I fixed me.
Read, huh?
We were here temporarily
Is that right? You didn't know that?
I didn't know that
I didn't know
until
it
a
went
couple.
out
He got a
here.
job at
Wow.
San
So
Jose.
no, we didn't know
Years
that.
and years,
They
yeah.
went up there to get all situated, but we were already in school. We had already started school and everything. We were down here staying with them. And, all of us were. We were like, Dad was in between jobs. And then he
Oh,
got
yeah.
a job in San Jose, and then they went up there to get a place. And then Granny and Grandpa said, we'll leave the kids here with us.
Well,
No need in taking them out of the school. So ultimately, we ended up spending about 10 months down here.
well, that was good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I
And
know who
worked
you're
the
talking
summer, and
about.
it was an interesting experience because every time my dad and Kay would come to visit, and if there was anything going on with us kids, and I said, you know, hey, I want to take a part-time job or I want to do that, Grandpa would say, okay. And Dad would say no. So you talk about politics and politics
Oh, I
between the
don't
two.
have any idea
And
what
so
this
Grandpa
is.
finally looked at him and says, look, Fred, as long as those kids are under my roof, they do as
yeah.
I say. When they get back to your
Yeah.
roof, they can do as you say.
That sounds just like from Monday.
That was
I
the way
mean,
it
that.
was.
That's true.
That
Did
was-
you get a part-time job?
I worked, my first job was at Kentucky Fried Chicken here in
Oh,
town.
dang.
And Craig worked out at the
Yeah.
chicken farm. And he'd come home and he smelled like chicken
Oh.
farts. Oh, it was just
Well, I
something
got
awful.
that.
Grandpa would say to him,
The
he'd
hell's a
say,
chicken
Craig,
fart
what
smell
did you
like?"
roll around and just let those chickens fart on you, or what did you do? And we would sit here and murmur all night long. And he'd say, go in there and clean up, boy, you're not coming to dinner smelling like chicken farts. Every single night, it was just a riot. And, you know, we'd all kind of go.
Did you have to work at night?
No, I worked during the day. I smelled like Kentucky Fried Chicken. He smelled like chicken farts. You know, there's quite a little family here.
That's a girl.
But I remember when we went, the first time I ever went to Tennessee, I met all of you when we were
Yeah.
all real little. I had that body cast on
Is
it,
that in the McNutt family?
and everybody was all worried about chiggers. I said,
Oh,
what's a chick?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
know, and they said it's a tick. I says, what's a tick?
Yeah, the
I
town.
didn't know anything out here. I was a California girl. And I was born and raised in Chicago, but I never heard of a chigger or a tick. And everybody was just talking about chiggers and ticks. And all the brothers got a roll of toilet paper and all left. And I says, where's everybody going? And they all walked down the road. And then they all came back and they're all singing,
No.
you know, doing this. You know, and here I am like 11, well, I was 13 when I had that done. And I'm just thinking, this is weird. And Mom just said, oh, they're just going to the bathroom. I said, all of them together. and they were talking about chiggers then too. Be careful about those chiggers, be careful about those chiggers. Well, lo and behold, you know, nothing happened to me in my cast because they were all worried about it getting up in my cast. But lo and behold, one landed on Craig in a not so good place.
Oh.
A chigger.
He had been in the woods too long.
He had gone to the woods with the uncles.
And squatted over the one bush.
Craig learned what a chigger was.
Well,
Real
it's
fast.
the team's the best.
See, Lynn has just all these dirty memories. I'm telling you, I mean, they're just, they just treated me like a boy. I think that's what happened. He just raised me kind of like one of the boys. Oh, God.
Yeah.
And Dick go in there one night, Dick said, I'll check you if you'll check me.
Oh, she's giving you me. So y'all got them as kids too
Oh
then?
gosh, yeah, plenty
She
of them.
wasn't down there 2 days till she was calling home.
Yeah, that's it ain't no different than them old as them new ones.
It's the thing, they just, those things are just always around, aren't they?
Yeah.
No, she called my sister and brother,
Uh-huh.
not hers. 'Cause she couldn't
I
get
don't
us.
see how she's talking there.
No.
Kids all gone, I guess we were stoned too, probably.
And we would work. I mean, our vacation was working.
Well, you all didn't
You
know
know?
that was the only
But you
time
thought it
you
was
went down
fun?
there without us.
No.
No, I
You
remember on
didn't think it
that.
was fun?
Yeah?
Well, I don't necessarily, no, I don't think we thought it was fun. And there was no TV.
Yeah.
There was
No
no
bathroom.
bathroom, and you didn't go across the street to Uncle Hugh's and Aunt Ruth's because Aunt Ruth
They didn't want you.
didn't like us coming over there to use the bathroom. So we had to go to this outhouse with the cows right beside you.
Yeah.
You know, and it was pitiful when we would, during the day, Mama would only let us, go, we had to dig our potatoes before we did anything, and then we could walk past the graveyard down to the creek to take our baths and wash up. you know.
Wow, that's
It
when I
was-
a kid.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough for
And
them.
they'd sit down on that, outside toilet, you know, no chicken would come up on that pig.
I don't believe that.
Oh.
You hear that women scoring.
You know, and I think when Mama got their first phone is because the boys ended up having to pay for it every month, didn't they? When Mama and Papa were getting so old,
Yeah.
and the boys could never get a hold of them because they were not going to pay for a phone. They never had one. They weren't about to get one. So the boys finally said, "Well, we're getting your phone. We'll pay the bill." And I guess they alternated paying the bill or something.
No,
Just
no car paid all them bills.
Oh, Uncle Coy did?
Yeah, we didn't pay that.
Well, I didn't know Uncle Coy was even really around on that.
Yeah, car paid them bills.
What
Well, that was
about,
good.
yeah, they live there. Didn't
Huh?
they? They live there. What about, what are some of the tales y'all had with Dick back then? Didn't you and Dick?
Well, I'll tell you one on Coy, Wade.
I tell them.
Well, he was out there in the yard taking a crap, you know. he'd get through taking a crap, he'd say, kitty, kitty,
I'm
kitty.
telling you. I can educate so fast.
Oh,
Me right in.
And a cat come out.
that is nasty.
And the kid would go over.
Yeah, and he go under and we don't wipe him off.
He'd lick them off. He'd lick them clean.
That's what up.
Nick had been at the red corn garden a while, did he? Nobody used a while before you could go. If you wipe it off, that river you couldn't tell. If you used a while, you wipe it, you was clean.
Oh, it's taking me down no way to tell it.
I wanted to know if the story is true that y'all truly did have to pick out the 5